Welcome to Healing Mindset, the space where awareness meets compassion and where we learn to battle the quiet within us. I am Nazish, and tonight we are touching one of the deepest emotional wounds so many of us carry, the voice of unworthiness. Our guest, Irina, knows the voice intimately, and she's dedicated her life to helping others silence it with compassion and truth. She's the founder of Reclaim Your Life, a transformational coach, speaker, and number one international best-selling author of The Gift Inside. Through her coaching, her podcast, Single Parent Success Stories, and Reclaim Your Life, and her Happiness Academy, Irina helps women, especially rebuilding after long term relationships, rediscover their worthy and identity. Her message is simple but profound. Unworthiness isn't truth, it is the story we can rewrite. So, tonight, let's explore how to quiet that inner critic where those self doubts begin and how to remember who we are beneath the pain. Welcome to the show, Irina.
Thank you, Nazish, so much. Great to be here.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you as well. So, Irina, you call it the voice of unworthiness. Where does this voice usually come from? And why does it feel so believable even to strong and successful people?
Yeah. So, voice of unworthiness can come from our past. It could be actually the voice of your parent, your sibling, your significant other. It's all, and also in our childhood. Sometimes, if we close our eyes and if we think to ourselves, what voice coming through? Do you hear your own voice or do you hear somebody else speaking? And oftentimes it could be the voice of your parent. Let's say we had a very strict parent growing up, and whenever you made a mistake, mistakes were punished a lot, while what you did right was just taken for granted. It wasn't even recognized. And so sometimes in your own life, when you do something and it doesn't work out the first time, you start hearing that voice of your parents speaking inside of you. And then you start believing it because when we are little, we don't discriminate against what we see, what we experience. There is no break. Wherever our mind absorbs everything we hear, we don't know if it's good or bad. And of course, our parents are trying to raise better humans. So they're pointing out the mistakes so that we can do better next time. And yes, it worked in that moment, but now we have grown, we're adults, and we still have that kind of inner saboteur uh, cutting us off, cutting ourselves off, and kind of shooting ourselves in the foot. One way first is to acknowledge what is the voice that is telling you, because we all have voices. Some people have good voices, some people have bad voices. What is the wolf you are feeding? I don't know who said it, but we all have wolves, two wolves inside of us. And who is the winning one? The one you keep feeding. So if you keep recognizing that voice and you keep associating with it and believing it, the biggest thing for anybody is what you believe. What you believe is true will be true for you. It's not good or bad, it just is. And when we understand that, when we accept that, and then going into the thing, who are you feeding? What kind of person do you want to be? And sometimes it's difficult to untangle yourself from the past.
That is so nice. Like you described it with such tenderness and so beautifully. So, has there been any moment in your own journey when you realized that your voice wasn't truly you but an echo from the past?
Yeah, totally. When I was in my own journey, when I was so I became a single parent of a newborn and a 5-year-old, and for 1 year I was waiting for somebody to come rescue me. And during that year, it was very difficult year where I was kind of like, what did I do wrong? Why did life came out like that? And constantly going back in the past and regurgitating the things what I should have said, what I could have done. But whenever I call it, and it took time to get out from there. And I think the greatest benefit was, or I came to this realization, to this one decision, that however I was living wasn't working and I needed to change because I was so fed up. Because the most difficult thing in life is change.
Yeah.
Because we are so comfortable in our own misery. Sometimes we will stay stuck in the misery because it's so familiar. And it's difficult to step outside to make this kind of tiny step into the different direction because our mind wants to keep us safe. And anything that different is considered danger. Because here you know your misery. You know you're miserable, but you know how miserable you are. But what if you step outside and it's going to be even worse what you have now? So sometimes we stay stuck for long periods of time. So for me, when I made this decision, I didn't have a roadmap. I didn't know how or what, but however I was living wasn't working and I wanted to change. So that kind of started my journey. And the biggest thing in the journey was rediscovering who I am because I lost myself in the process. I was someone else's mom, someone else's spouse, but I didn't know who I was. And so I took myself on this journey of personal development and growth. And through different habits, through different things, I realized that life is not over after divorce. It's not over. We can discover the best part of ourselves. We can discover beautiful things. For me, it was I learned how to sing. I got a voice coach and I was able to sing what I couldn't speak. I joined Toastmasters, which allowed me to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, and that opened up my voice. And the greatest thing after that, I guess, was learning neurolinguistic programming. It's like the manual of your mind. And I have this amazing ability to not have the inner chatter, that negative voice, or I catch that voice and I tell that voice that's not true. It's not serving. Because anytime you hear that voice, you can ask a question. Is it helping me getting better? Or is it draining me? Is me putting me down? So that was kind of a great experience.
That is something like, come on, like listening to your journey, I feel like many of our listeners are going to feel motivated to get out of their comfortable misery and to experience the change and to experience what all the world has to offer to them. It might be way beautiful than where they are right now.
Yes.
Yeah. So many women you work with are rebuilding their lives after relationships end. What is the biggest emotional barrier they face when they're trying to rediscover their self worth?
Again, who you were. Oftentimes the past is the one that holding us back the most. Who you were before. But nothing in life, everything in life changes. We always change. Every 6 months we change. And oftentimes women stay stuck in the past. They reliving the same story. What we don't realize when we do that, the same parts of our brain light up when we think about something that happened a second ago, a moment ago, or a decade ago. For our mind, everything is happening right here, right now. And it's not only pieces of conversation or arguments you had with somebody. You also get to experience every single emotion that you felt in the moment on a cellular level. So you're reliving, you're like this masochist who goes on this journey and puts yourself through misery over and over again and through the cycles of misery, not getting anywhere out of it. And I'm not saying, you know, yes, what happened happened, and it's not to excuse any behaviors or do anything. But if we want to move forward, we gotta first become aware of where we are, what is happening. We gotta accept what happened in the past. And then in order to move forward, we gotta forgive. Forgiveness is so, so important. It's not for other people, it is for us, for our own sanity, for our own ability to move forward in life. Because in the end of the day, life is so short to
Mm.
spend it in misery, to spend it giving your power away to other people and places. If you think on the grand scheme of things, we are such a little particle, a human in the grand scheme of things. And this event or this thing that took place, is it worth your energy? Is it worth your sanity? Is it worth your power that you're gonna spend so much time kind of living in that unworthiness, in that bad place.
That is
What do you
that.
create? Like that's I think the most important thing is, what do you want to create? You came here on the planet Earth. What kind of human do you want to be, and what do you want to create with your life? You have this amazing ability. You can feel things, you can experience, you can hear, you can sense, you can dream, and you have this body to do all the things that you want to do. What is it that you want to create? I think as children, it's so easy for us. We dream, we live in this world, and then when we grow up, we become serious, we become adults, we have bills to pay and things to do, and we forget how to dream. We forget what we want to create. We get into this mode that, you just tick boxes off.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly. And the way you mentioned about self-awareness, forgiveness, acceptance, I mean, all of these are like the act of self-love that you can give to yourself for your own healing.
Yeah.
Also, something that I have often seen personally and I've often seen in my friends and people I know, that like when that loneliness hit and you have that feeling to reach out for external validation because it feels easy. So, like, is there something for you to guide those people back to themselves?
Yeah. One way is to create a list of your accomplishments, of the things you've done in your life up to
Yeah.
this point, and have that handy. Create a playlist of music that, uplifting music that makes you feel alive.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, becoming aware, and community is very important, and we can get lonely sometimes as well. That's
Yeah.
true.
Hmm.
So how do you get out of that? Find a community, find people who are on the same wavelengths. In my own journey, I start exploring hobbies. I'm a great believer in hobbies because I believe we discover dimensions of ourselves through that. So whether it's singing, Pilates, painting, dancing, whatever it is, you can find people who have the same affinity for different things, and you can find community in that way. So I was dancing Argentine tango, and I found people in that who were doing that and loved that. And then I was painting. I don't know, in here in the States, they have paint and sip activities. So I was able to find people like that who like painting. And then through my singing, I found the community as well. So that community aspect is important, because it feels different aspects of your soul. And for my personal development, I had mind valley. So it was always kind of community is always present.
Yeah. So that's good. That's good. Like finding community, playlist, music, anything that will help you nurture yourself, that will help you deeply connect with yourself. It sounds amazing. And yeah, so you blend mindset work with holistic healing. How do you help clients move from thinking they are worthy to actually feeling it in their bodies, like in their daily lives?
So it starts kind of, you know how to make a perfect cup of coffee or cup of tea if you didn't let. We should also know how to make a perfect day for ourselves. I'm a great believer in morning routines and practices. So establishing a foundation. You can, when you build a home, you have to have a strong foundation. Otherwise, the walls will collapse. So I'm creating habits and different states of being: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And that's what I share in my book, The Gift Inside. It's all about creating habits. So in physical space, how you start your morning, what do you do for yourself? Before you are anybody for anybody else, you gotta be somebody for you. You gotta love yourself, like your life depended on it, because it really truly does. So when I wake up in the morning, before my feet hit the floor, I say, I'm gonna have an awesome day, no matter what. And practicing gratitude. What are three things you're grateful for as soon as you wake up, before the monkey brain starts and this chatter starts? What are you grateful for today, this morning? The fact that you woke up, the fact that you see the sun, the fact that you can smell or sense simple, trivial things. It's all the habits. It's not something you do once in a while. It's what you do day to day. That's what really moves the needle. that's what really changes your life. I love this book by Jeff Olson, which is called The Slight Edge. And it is all about making small daily 1 degree changes. So a year later, you might turn around and notice you're 360 degrees better from where you were. So doing micro practices, movement, filling yourself up, because once you feel yourself, once you do stuff for yourself. So for me, I like I said, the gratitude, and it's going to have an awesome day. Another thing I do is I meditate 10, 15 minutes and then I go for a walk. I love watching sunrises. I love watching how the sky changes color from crimson to pink, and to see the clouds and the sky and smelling the air and feeling the wind against your face, being present to life. Because oftentimes the days, I don't know how you feel, but I feel like every day is so running so fast as we get older. When we were younger, the time felt slower. Now it feels faster. So when you are present to your life, you get to sense it, you get to be present to it, savoring things. If you're not into sunrises, I'm not encouraging you to wake up early. You can watch a sunset, but being present to your life when you're tasting some food, don't just shove the food in your mouth. Really taste the flavor and appreciate that you have this food, that you're able to consume it and feel good about it. Simple, trivial things. I used to take walking for granted until I dislocated my knee. Now a day hasn't, I'm all totally good now, but the day hasn't gone by since I haven't say thank you, my niece, for walking. Simple things, because we take so many things for granted until we lose them. So practicing appreciating things that are working in your life to getting yourself out of misery. Think of gratitude as breadcrumbs on your way out of the darkness. Because when you are in the dark, when you are feeling unworthy, all you can think about is the problem. All you can think about is this dark space. So gratitude can be like little breadcrumbs, literally, when you start to appreciate what is working. Not everything is bad. And another thing is when you are present, nothing can kind of bother you. When you are present to your life, when you can appreciate what is working. And suddenly our mind is always want to prove us right. It could suggest different things that are working, not just three, maybe four, five or more.
That is something that's very beautiful. And the way you mentioned about so many things about, loving yourself and doing things about yourself and everything. It's just something that our listeners are gonna listen, and I'm pretty sure it's just gonna help them grow so much in their life.
Because when you invest in doing the things,
Yeah.
you prove to yourself that you are worthy to spend time on, to, charge your own battery before you go be anybody for others. You gotta be somebody for you.
Yeah. That's very beautifully said. You have to be somebody for you. That's such an amazing thing. Yeah. So when someone's lived in self doubt for years, and like happiness and joy almost feel foreign to them, how do you help them begin to cultivate happiness that feels authentic, not forced?
They gotta find what they love to do. Oftentimes we put ourselves on the back burner and we don't,
Mhm.
we say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it next year.
Mhm.
But what if you don't have tomorrow? What if you don't have next year? You gotta appreciate every single day, because every day is a gift and it is called the present.
Yeah.
So I encourage people to discover what they want, what they always wanted to do. Maybe they always wanted to sing or go on a cooking show or do something with their life that they were not doing. Because why would you be in a self doubt? Why would you feel unworthy? Because you haven't spent the time, you haven't done the things that bring you joy. Maybe life has been hard on you and you've been just living someone else's life, living what your parents thought or your friends wanted you to be. But what if you have a different path? What if, and the longer, another thing, why self-doubt might come in also, we have this expectation of how life is supposed to be. And again, it is based on our preconception of what our society said, our peers who we surround ourselves with. And that's the model of the world we live with. And sometimes that model doesn't match the reality. And then we can find ourselves in this dark space of unworthiness, of not feeling like we are doing right in life, but according to whose truth? Whose life are you living? Are you living your own life or somebody's idea of what your life's supposed to be?
Exactly. There is such a hopeful affirmation coming from you, and I think it is gonna help, like, me just listening to it feels like there is so much I can also do, waking up daily, appreciating things that I have. Like you mentioned, your knees are working, appreciate it. There's so much to feel gratitude about in the world where you're living and breathing. It's amazing. Yeah. So, can purpose grow from pain? And if so, what's uh what's one way heartbreak can become fuel for growth?
Sometimes a pain can become a purpose, can become a power. In the end of the day, we are not punished. We, every single event in life is a lesson. And if we look at a past in such a way that what was the lesson? What do I needed to learn in this experience? What is a positive thing that I needed to learn? So in my own experience, I learned that I needed to speak up because I was always quiet. I was the obedient one. I never wanted to quarrel. I never wanted to start anything. So I would just go along with my partner. But what happens when we do that? We lose ourselves in the process. First, we stay quiet, we say nothing, and then the longer you do it, the more often you do it, you lose a piece of yourself with every single interaction. So for myself, what I learned is that I needed to speak up. I needed to be myself. Otherwise, you lose yourself in the process.
Yeah, that is very well said. You do lose yourself in the process if you are not being the real you. Yeah. So, the like people often, like you often say, your mission is to help people live with wellness, dream boldly, and grow through self-discovery. What does living with worthiness actually look like on an ordinary day?
And doing things that bring you joy,
Yeah.
fulfilling your word, fulfilling your own life. And because in the end of the day, we all have a gift. We all have a gift inside of us. And only you were given that gift. Only you were given that dream. Not your spouse, not your child, not your parent, only you. And only you have that amazing ability. I believe our job here is to share a gift, what discover what it is and then share it with others.
Mhm.
And we can do that through discovering who we are, first of all, because we've forgotten who we are through our obligations, through living life. We gotta remember how to be like children, to have
That is
joy in our life, be present, because we are so absent-minded. We, like you could be speaking with somebody while they're thinking of 300 gazillion things and they're not even present in
only.
conversation. So being present to life is important. Remembering things that bring you joy and actually do those things. If you are very, very busy, at least dedicate one kind of an hour per week to do something that you love. For me, I have non-negotiables. Joy is very important aspect of my day. And I do, and I recommend for other people, do 10 minutes of joy. Do the things that set your soul on fire. Not because you get paid for it, but because it makes you happy, it makes you feel alive. Because when you do something that you're joyful about, you're being present. You're present to your life. You're not missing out. You're not spacing out somewhere. You're doing something for you. So for me, I do 10 minutes of singing every day, just like brushing teeth. We always think about, you know, our oral hygiene. We have to brush our teeth. We don't even think about it. We just do it. But what about a happiness? What about a joy? What are you doing on a day-to-day basis to keep your joy alive?
Yeah. And that's amazing. That is something. And like and for those of who of like are listening, maybe Like there are people who think that they're not enough, they're not worthy. So is there one step that they can take towards changing this thought or rewriting that thought?
Yes. So one exercise you could do, journaling is very important. And the thought, is it true? Is that so true? Is it always true? And is it serving you? Is it doing something good for you? Because sometimes we do have, I forgot that how what it's called, but we have a benefit out of a bad thing, and it's hidden in plain sight. To discover, why do you do the thing that you shouldn't be doing? You know it's bad for you, but you keep doing it. What benefit do you get? Like, not to to sound shallow, but let's say if there is an ability for you to get better, but you prefer to stay sick because people take care of you, they feel pity on you, you don't have to do anything, you can just be you, and you choose to stay sick instead of getting better.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about everybody, but there are certain cases like that where on a hidden level you'd rather, because somebody takes care of me. It's like so awesome. And now if I get better, it means they're gonna expect me to do stuff now around the house.
That is very true. That is something that there are people who think like this. And talking to you, I think many of our listeners are gonna carry the messages that you have given, the words you've spoken, the way you have portrayed your own story and everything to a long, long time after this, long ahead. Irina, this has been such an heart-opening conversation with you. And for our listeners who want to connect with you, with your work, and explore more about Reclaim Your Life, where can they find you?
So my website is irinashehovsov.com. A YouTube channel had a lot of videos on worthiness and other different great ideas. It's called Happiness Academy _ Uh, my podcast, Single Parent Success Stories, is available along the platforms for single parents to learn the tools. And then Reclaim Your Life with Irina is another podcast I host. My books are available on Amazon. And I recently spoke at MIT in Boston, and that talk is also live.
Well, that is so amazing. Thank you so much for sharing these informations with us. I will make sure to put all these information in the show notes. And I know many of our listeners will want to continue this journey with you. Your voice brings so much clarity and ground reality and kindness to something we all struggle in silence. So, Irina, thank you so much for reminding us that unworthiness isn't who we are. It is simply a story we have outgrown. To everyone listening, tonight, when the inner critic starts to whisper, pause and ask, would I ever say this to someone I love? If not, it doesn't deserve to be said to you either. Because healing begins with you, how you speak to yourself. This is Healing Mindset, and I am Nazish. Until next time, speak kindly, love deeply, and remember your words are the seed of your own healing. Thank you so much.